Starting this thing off, I think we should just get right into it. What is this revolution of consciousness, and why do you create around that? Like, what inspires you to create on your platform?
All right. So I guess in short, intuition.
Mm-hmm.
I was over the years along my path, I have been, yeah, I've kind of managed to strengthen this muscle that is the intuition, and it really guides me through my ventures these days. And yeah, Revolution of Consciousness, it started off as a blog, and then yeah, it just gradually turned into a YouTube channel, again just following my intuitive guidance. And though it takes me out of my comfort zone, I'm okay with that. I observe the fear, observe the sensation, and just allow this kind of inner calling to guide me, knowing full well that, the fear is just an illusion. So that's where how it came about. And in terms of the actual name, why it's built around this, along my path, I began to develop a lot of empathy. And I looked at the world around me, and I could feel and I could see this shift in consciousness that was taking place. I have this fundamental belief that the world, it is ascending, and the consciousness on the planet, it is evolving. And yeah, there's a lot of insanity everywhere, but there's also a lot of beauty. And yeah, Revolution of Consciousness, it is, I guess it's a documentation of my own awakening, of how I'm raising my own consciousness in accordance with the planet. And so, yeah, I'm just taking you guys with me on the channel, I guess.
Yeah, so it's almost like a back and forth process between people watching your ascension and then also you being able to pick up on the world's ascension, and then you kind of just reflect with each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Pretty much. Yeah. I do the whole thing very intuitively, whatever I feel like I want to put out at that time, I will. And it talks a lot about the lessons that I've learned along the way, how my practice is unfolding, the lessons that I've learned in my own unique practice. And obviously everyone's awakening blossoms in its own way. So
Hmm.
where what people resonate with, then they can take with that with them as well.
Hmm. Yeah. A lot of the people I talk to say the same thing as you, is that they almost, I mean, I feel the same way too. Like, I feel like a sort of channel, even though I'm not channeling maybe another entity, like some people literally channel. It's like a channel to some other wavelength of consciousness, like whatever this, the newfound state of viewing yourself and the world. That's what we channel, like this new perspective, this new conscious perspective. That is what I see as the new, like, the paradigm of creation with these people like you that I speak to. It's like we're just kind of we're just throwing it out there. I think we kind of spoke about this a little bit before. We're just kind of like having this platform as an offering for people. If they want to take it, you can take it. If not, then no harm, no loss. It's fine. And I think
Mhm.
that's a really special way to create. It's kind of just like yeah, like we said before, no strings attached. There's kind of just like a not trying to get anything out of anybody, just simply sharing your reflections with the world. I think there's something powerful about that. It's a
Mhm.
newfound state of consciousness we're moving toward, but also like a newfound state of creation. And they
Mm.
kind of go hand in hand, I see. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, 100%, totally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost as if the more that we kind of move into our essence, what we are beyond, the layers of the conditioning and the identification with thought, we move closer to this inner guidance, this higher self. We embody more of it. And then, yeah, it speaks through us more often, even in
Yeah.
conversation. Like you say, the channeling can happen when we're journaling in our diary, or if we're speaking to another person, or if we're shooting a YouTube video, something just kind of flows through us
Mm-hmm.
in a way. And yeah, sometimes you can't comprehend it, but it leads to a lot of creativity in lots of aspects.
So is that how you would describe this ascension of consciousness? It's actually like, it sounds very lofty and grandiose, right, to anyone that doesn't know any better, but it actually involves an aspect of surrendering to whatever this channeled energy is, right? It's kind of like a, we are ascending, but in that ascension is also like a giving up of something. Like you give up your sense of yourself with a lowercase s, but you kind of gain the sense of self with an uppercase s in a way.
Yeah.
So I mean, ascension is a great word, but I don't even feel like that does it justice. There's something special about it sounds weird to say, but there's something special about giving up a sense of your humanly self. It just sounds weird saying, and giving up to that kind of that higher guidance. Like there's something really, I don't know, it almost is like weight lifted off of your shoulders in a way. But it doesn't mean that that doesn't mean from that weight lifted off of your shoulders there is inactivity from that, and then all is good, I'm just going to chill out and do nothing all day. It's actually quite the contrary. From that like connection with whatever you want to call it, source, God, infinite love, actually comes a sense of like action. There's more gumption in one's action to be the channel, to be the instrument of this divine, to be like a whatever you want to call it, a tool, a vehicle. But there's a lot of different metaphors for it. But it just seems like you surrender to the process, and that process almost uses you. That sounds bad to say, but it is kind of like that in a way. You get you get used, but it is somewhat like that. But it's willing. It's a willing. You become a willing instrument and servant to this greater force, this greater energy, and then thus everyone else in the world. And to me, that brings me a semblance of like, yeah, like a semblance of like purpose. Like, yeah, you know what? It feels good to serve. I think naturally that's what we are, right? I think naturally a human being in one way or the other is a servant. It's just whom do we serve, and how do we go about
Mm.
serving? That brings us a sense of like, I don't know if happiness is the right word. That's too easy of a word to use, but I guess happiness, peace, like placement here, a sort of uh,
Fulfillment in a way.
fulfillment. That's a good one. Yeah, fulfillment, a sort of fulfillment here in this humanly experience. It's to serve a greater force than your a greater force than what your humanly vessel may may ask of you just on the surface level. It's something that goes a little bit deeper. That's what I think we ascend to. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, it's yeah. I do feel like an instrument sometimes, and there is a level of kind of acceptance that I have in that now. And as I said before, it really takes me out of my comfort zone sometimes. But I've built up such a trust in my intuition now, and so much faith in it that I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever has to come through, yeah, we'll completely let it go through. And
Mm-hmm.
and I guess it does bring that sense of fulfillment, because sooner or later on this path of awakening, as we move closer to who we are and we kind of find ourselves, as cliche as that sounds, I think I've heard, where I've spoken to people, that a lot of people feel this calling to fulfill some kind of mission work that they have here, a dharma, I think they could call it. And yeah, we feel compelled to come out and be of service in whatever way that looks like to the person, to that
Mm-hmm.
individual. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It's definitely a calling. I think we're all here for some reason. I don't think there's any accidents in the plan of the universe. We're all specifically here for some kind of purpose, I believe. Even though we live in a world that is quite cynical and quite nihilistic in that idea on the surface level, I think deep down we were all put here for a reason. And if there's someone or something that put us here, that doesn't even really matter. I think just naturally us just existing, having this sense of I amness, that means there is some innate purpose for your life. I really do truly believe that. And it doesn't mean you have to create a podcast or a YouTube channel. I think it could be actually very simple. I think some people's
Mm.
purpose is quite simple, and that's what makes the human experience beautiful. Is we all have our own innate dharma, our swadharma, as they call it, our innate, just I guess purpose. I don't know any other word. Yeah, I guess our innate, just something we got to do here, our life's work, and it all comes in different shapes and sizes. But that's what makes this human experience beautiful. Imagine if we everyone was doing podcasts. That sucks. That's not that would make it not interesting. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm just saying, like, we all
Yeah,
have
of
our
course.
own we all have our own knack here, and that's what's cool, that we're
Mm.
all quite unique. I mean, we're all unique. Like, we all have our own knack, even though we have similarities in our knacks, but all every what, 8 billion people of us, the 8 billion people on earth, all of us have, like, our very specific purpose for whatever it is and whatever our karma yields. I believe that. I mean, maybe some people would call me a little idealistic and, a little bit out there, but I do believe that all 8 billion human beings here, we are a channel. We are a vehicle for this divine energy that we spoke of before. It's just a matter of being able to realize that or not. But the thing is, we are, whether we realize it or not. But once we realize it, that's when the fun starts. That's this awakening. That's this ascension. Is realizing it's not like you're gaining anything. It's actually just remembering what you've always what you've always were. Like, you've always
Mm.
had it. It's just like, oh, the light bulb goes on. It's like, oh, this is what it means to be a human, right? You know what I mean? We're not. There's nothing that you add to the human experience. It's always been here. You
Yeah,
just realize it.
yeah,
That's the
it's so
difference.
true. That what you say about remembering, everyone kind of reports a different their awakening kind of it unfolds in their own unique way. Awakenings come in all shapes and sizes, but yeah,
Yeah.
it is this deep, profound process of remembering more than anything. That's
Mm-hmm.
a really great way of putting it. I mean, you can disidentify from thought and you can raise your consciousness in whatever way that looks like, but yeah, fundamentally is this deep remembering of something that we forgot, maybe something we forgot before we entered this earthly realm and before we came into this human experience.
That's what they say. It
Yeah.
feels like it sometimes. It's like we have these memories that are just innately hidden somewhere deep in our DNA and our soul, whatever it is, and you just uncover them, and they just you get that download real quick. And through certain
Yeah.
practices, I mean, depends, all shapes and sizes. Like I said. So what did you how do you remember? Or how did you remember this? How did this spark of inspiration come to you?
So I think it was around 8 years ago now. I was actually studying at university, and I just started getting into sleep meditation because I was having trouble sleeping. I was really kind of nihilistic
Mm-hmm.
for many years. And, I knew that there was something about reality that I couldn't quite put my finger on,
Yeah.
but I hadn't had an awakening to the truth, and or whatever the truth is.
Uh,
But I hadn't remembered anything, put it that way. I was still bogged down in my conditioning and what society told me I should believe, what my parents told me I should believe, what everyone said. So
mm-hmm.
started getting into sleep meditation. And then I noticed how effective it was. And I thought, oh, let's delve a little bit deeper into this, and I actually started heading into the metaphysical section of the library and reading lots of books about lots of esoteric knowledge. And a lot of it at first, it was knowledge. It was actually gaining this knowledge of this other perspective about um, another perspective of how to view reality, the natural laws, the natural principles of the universe that actually govern this universe, like the principle of vibration. And that's the most popular one. A lot of people talk about that. And I started seeing the world more energetically. And
Mm-hmm.
then this was before I even delved anywhere into working with the mind. I actually experienced, my life got very mystical. And
Mm-hmm.
things started unfolding that I couldn't quite explain. I started seeing synchronicity of these serendipity, like a lot of serendipity just unfolding. And um, yeah, things got very mystical, and my intuition was loud. And Yeah, I that's when I realized this is a process of remembering whatever is going on right now. This is much more profound than any, I've gone through obsessions before. I've really delved into knowledge and read a lot of books about something, but this is transforming my whole world to the point where I'm not even the same person that I was a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, so I
Mm-hmm.
had to change my life, actually. I had to make sacrifices because the intuition was so loud and I had to follow that. And I've done that ever since.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
you were finding this innate wisdom that you've always had, right? Like you kind of had the feeling like, wait, whoa, I've always, like, you kind of always had this knack. You just didn't know that you had it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was it was activating something.
Yeah.
Much like when you work with the mind and you start to observe your thoughts, you kind of activate this consciousness that's already within you. And it was the same with reading all of this kind of profound ancient wisdom. In a way, it was activating something, remembering something that was already the deep wisdom that was just in me. I just pressed a button.
What did you read? Do you remember? I'm gonna guess. Did you read the Kabbalion?
Yes, that was one of
Okay.
them. Yeah, the Kabbalion. Oh, so many, like so many channelings. And yeah, I started getting into various spiritual teachers. And there was a lot of books around that time which really kind of unlocked me. I think that I saw you were reading the Ra material. Was it? That
Yeah,
was a
Law
big
of
one
One.
as well. The
Yeah,
Law
that
of
one's a big
One.
one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, just lots of different texts, and I actually found that a lot of them correlated with each other. Um, and the Kabbalion was a big influence on me at that time for sure, and it
Yeah.
still is really.
Hmm. It all relates in one way or the other. I
Mm,
mean, there's some inconsistencies that one could find if you dive into a lot of different modalities and practices, but in one way or the other, the truth is the truth. And the wise call it by many names, you know. And the truth is, I mean, you can't really describe it, but I'm going to try just because I already started the sentence. The truth is the truth is that, you know, we go far beyond than what we've been told and what we've been conditioned into our whole life. This humanly vessel and our capabilities of this humanly vessel, they exceed our expectations far, far beyond what we currently understand. And that's what one can come to find when you do meditation or you whatever your practice is. I mean, meditation is huge. I think meditation is one of the bigger ones. Just general self inquiry, asking yourself,
mm,
what is this? What the heck is this? What is all of this? To just sit down and ask the question. Because the
yeah.
majority of human beings, I'm not judging at all. I just, from an observation, the majority of human beings don't even ask that question. And I know I was
Mm,
at that point in my life at one point. I was just going with the motions, just trying to have some fun, you know, get by, just survive and have some fun, right? But then, you know, I don't know what happened, divine grace, where it got me on this kind of wavelength to put a halt to that and just say, wait, just just breathe and wonder, like what the heck, what is going on, man? What's really
yeah.
going on? And the truth, this truth per se, isn't something that we could ever figure out. I guess there's nothing to figure out. I guess that's the only truth. That's the only thing we can figure out, is there's nothing really. You're never gonna figure it out per se. But
Mm,
that leads me even more down the path of truth, you know? Like
mm,
that actually in me instills some kind of sense of wanting to get the truth more, if that makes sense, you know? And it's not in an
mhm.
attached way, but it's like I know nothing about what I am or any of this, and I'm not just gonna like be okay with that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's some things that you can get. There's some like revelations about the human spirit, whether it's through meditation or psychedelics, or you read a book or you listen to somebody and something just hits you where it's like you can't just give up at that point. Like that's when the fun starts. Like I said, the fun starts is when you figure out the truth is that we're in this divine mystery, And
Hmm.
it might not ever be, quote, solvable, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go on the journey of solving it, or at least trying to reveal some parts of the mystery. Because
Hmm.
you can't figure the whole thing out, but you can figure some things out. Like there's some things that you can grasp about your being that you weren't necessarily told. And
Yeah.
it's fun, it's entertaining. Like why would you not want to figure out what you are? It doesn't make any sense at one point.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, for those on this path, it is there is this wonder that arises through actually learning what we are beyond the voice and the mind, learning what we are beyond this physical human experience, and yeah, accepting the fact that really our tiny little human brains are not going to be able to comprehend much at all, but we're
Mm-hmm.
still kind of maybe scratching the surface a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think as I said before, everyone's journey is completely unique. So everyone's truth will be true. It's almost as if I find the way it unravels for me is that we find spiritual teachers at a time when we need them. So that could be our truth for that moment in time, and it
Yeah.
helps us to grow, it helps us to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly our truth might change. And, having these flexible belief systems is part of it, I think, as well. And really being able to think, okay, well, that was my truth then. Now this is my truth. And,
Yep.
and just being led on this journey.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
exactly. And be okay with being wrong too. I would say
Mm.
don't take a spiritual ego. Um, be okay with, like I said, not knowing, and revere that mystery with wonder. It's a good word. Wonder. Constant wonder. I feel myself in constant bewilderment of life. Even though some days it may seem a little more mundane than others, still there's this like constant sense that is just, it's like, whoa, I'm alive. Just the simple fact of just like the here and nowness. Like there's just something, that wonder can never be taken away. I don't believe. I don't see it getting less wondrous as time goes on. So I revere that wonder. Like there's something, or maybe it's that I revere just the sense of mystery, and that brings wonder. I think that's a better way to
Mm.
say it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
totally.
It makes life
Like
exciting.
it does. It really does. Like the thing is if I was to look at myself before my awakening and I look at it now, I am such a happier person. I've fallen in love with life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did have to ask myself that question, how did I get into this body? I look at the magnificent beauty in a flower and I'm like, hang on a minute. There's
Mm-hmm.
something incredible about this.
Yep.
Why am I not questioning the nature of the universe? Why am I not questioning why I'm here? And I had to ask those questions. The more that I kind of unravel this awakening, the more I feel this sense of wonder. I don't just see nature now; I feel nature.
Mm.
Um,
You are nature.
that yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
feel that, yeah, like this connection, this interconnectedness with it, realizing that it is me, it is a reflection of me. And yeah, there's this profound sense of I say childlike wonder because it is like that. It's like seeing things for the first time again. That has really been sparked since my awakening. We tend to get very jaded as we grow up, as we identify with this me, we can become very serious and we can forget how beautiful existence is. We can forget to smell the roses on the way to
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas what happens when you delve into presence, especially I found that that's what gave birth to a lot of this sense of wonder. It was presence. And then, yeah, you see the world and its aliveness, and you see tiny miracles everywhere. And yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
great. It's the best part of awakening for me, just the magic everywhere.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. It's not about trying to get to anywhere or be more awake or enlightened than anybody else. That's all just fallacy, man. That doesn't even make any sense. It's about really just truly, like you said, presence, just enjoying the here and nowness, enjoying the moment
Mhm.
and all the magic that it brings. Because truly, this moment that we're speaking right now and that the listener is listening to in the future, the moment with a capital T and a capital M, the moment is magic. This magic moment, you know that song, right? It truly is. It really is magic. Even when it doesn't seem like it. That's the thing. Even when it seems very dark and painful, actually, there's still a lot of darkness. I mean, we're talking pretty lofty here, but it's hard to say. But even in the darkness and even in the pain of life, there's somewhere in the back of my head that just like, I don't know, it just knows that like that's not real per se. Like there's something that is just like even sees the magic in the shit somehow. Somehow, like
Yeah.
once you catch that glimpse of the magnificence of the moment, you can see that no matter what happens in the phenomena of life, somehow, some way, that it's magic no matter what. And I know it's
Mm.
easy to say now. I'm sitting in my comfortable house. It's about, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm feeling good. I'm relatively healthy. So it's easy for me to say that now. The hard part is taking that essence into when your life gets shitty, or just when you try to confront the world's darkness, right? That's the hard part, but I think it's possible. And if there is a goal to this thing, if there is a goal, even though there is no goal, we can all say that in the non-dual sense, but if there is a goal and we can try to describe it, it's to bring that essence of presence. I like that, the essence of presence. I'm going to remember that one for the future. Bring that essence of presence into seemingly your entire life. Whatever happens in your life, the ups and the downs and the twists and the turns, the light and the dark, bring that essence of presence to not resist, just be. To not
Mm.
resist, not cling, just simply be with it. I know,
Mhm.
easier said than done, but I really do think that's, if you want to sum up the whole spiritual journey, man, it's to really just be here now, to be completely present with the magic that is, and however
Mm.
that it pops up or displays to you on the movie screen of your mind. Just simply be with it.
Mhm.
That's it. That's all I
Yeah.
gotta say.
It's so true. That there's so much liberation in that. There really is,
There is
because
liberation. Yeah.
yeah, because so much of our suffering is just a result of our resistance to the
Mm.
moment,
Mm-hmm.
resistance with the mind, trying to get out of what we are feeling emotionally. So I hear it so many times. People are like, "Oh, how do I stop feeling like this?" And just by saying, "What have you tried to accept it?" Accept it as if you had chosen it in a way.
Yeah.
Just that introducing that energy in and of itself, it can really kind of, oh, it's like a breath of fresh air. Hang on a minute. What if I just stop fighting and kicking and screaming and just allow? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that is getting in touch with the moment. A lot of people could say, oh, but we can't just accept everything. It's not about accepting, if we're in a toxic relationship or if we're in a job that's just sucking our soul or something, then yes, we can take action to change that, but it's more like accepting every single moment as it arises. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I am feeling this, and yeah, as you say, it's easy for us to say how beautiful the world is right now. We're not in a desperate or a horrible situation,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, there is a beauty in that emotion somewhere, and if we're able to really tap into our true essence as well, we can observe this emotion and sense what we are beyond it and see the bigger picture, which is that this is a sensation, a temporary sensation within us that holds a vibrational frequency that doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to pass, because everything does. Everything
Yep.
does. We live in a universe that, is everything changes.
Yep.
So we're in
Impermanent.
form.
That is liberation. And the way that I sense liberation is really being able to see that everything is impermanent. And it's not that, and it's always impermanent. It's just it's the realization that of anicca, as they say in Buddhism, or anitya. When you it's realizing the impermanence of everything, that realization to me is a sense of liberation, and really being able to dwell in that impermanence is a sense of liberation. I see it to really
Mm,
be just like you said, all of our suffering in a way doesn't really exist. It's going to come to
mm,
pass no matter what. That's liberation for me. No matter how bad or
yeah.
shitty my life may get, which it's going to happen. I know.
Hmm.
Well, shit's going to happen to me. It's going to happen to you. It's going to happen to all of us. But
Hmm.
in an impermanent universe, it doesn't exist because it's just another phenomenon that comes and goes. So I guess your
Hmm.
goal, our goal as spiritual beings, is to find out what does exist, what is actually permanent here per se, what isn't just another coming and going, right?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
then that is the truth. That is real. Everything else isn't real because it's just another here now, come and go. That's it. So
Mm.
that begs my question. What is real to you? What is this permanent self, or what is this permanent state or essence that we can all come to find? How would you describe that?
Wow. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, because if you observe the thoughts and the emotions, we realize that they will pass. They are impermanent. So we want to look deeper than that as to find something that is more permanent. And you know, through our ability to observe our thoughts, we realize that we are not them. So through sitting there in meditation, we can realize, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sat here, I'm seeing this sensation within me, this emotion, and I'm aware enough to watch this thought arise, or I'm not going to follow that. I'll let that go. I'll drop that. Oh, another thought's coming up. So we've got this background awareness
So you're saying that
that
is the
is,
unchanging self.
yeah, this ability to witness this. I feel that there's two states of awareness that we can live in at any given moment, two dimensions, if you will. One where we are lost in thoughts, one where we derive our sense of self from thought, and then suddenly we can wake up, and then we can see the thought, we can see the emotion as well. We are seeing the thought as this temporary vibrational frequency just inhabiting our mind space. And if we learn to live from, yeah, this place of awareness, that seems more real to me. That doesn't shift, that doesn't change, that's always there. It's
Yep.
just sometimes I'm living down here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that seems more permanent to me. And of course, I don't know what this is. We can I'm practicing self-inquiry, and really investigating and learning to live more from this place of awareness as the seer of it all, watching it all unfold in front of me from this
Mm.
place of awareness.
Yeah.
But yeah, that for me is more representative of who we are.
I feel that. Yeah, that's the greater consciousness.
Mm.
That's what we all are. It's not just me or you. That's what we, me and you. That's what me, you, and the listener all really innately are. And all of this, me and my body, you and your body, is just another coming and going. But we can find, all of us can find that there is this deeper essence that you said. I like how you said it's almost like you're looking down. It's another
Mm.
play on the word ascension. Like you almost, it is, even though it's not, you're not actually literally looking down, but in a metaphorical sense, you kind of are getting this bird's eye view of all of the coming and goings of your life. That's the unchanging self, that as I see it. It's this, we all have that in
Mm.
common. That I amness, the I am that I amness, the
Mm.
simple fact of consciousness. That's the greatest mystery. The simple fact that we have this right now. Whatever this is that we're experiencing, even though it may be temporary, there's still something going on. That thisness, that I amness, that is a mystery. Yes, for sure. You can't ever figure that out. That's not the point. But we can all like tap into that. We can all like encompass that and be that. That is the
Mm.
unchanging self, the
Mm.
Brahman, some may say, as
Yeah.
as as the it's just like the eternal witness in a way. And I know Buddhists, non-dualists would say that's not a thing. I don't know. I'm still up in the air. I go back and forth between everything is just passing phenomenon, all is one, and there is no, because you described like a separation between like, there's two states. You can get lost in the thoughts or you can witness your thoughts. I guess, but there's still like the mystery of the sense of I amness. Like this the fact of just like simply existing. That I amness that we can all touch upon. I do believe that holds substance. Like that there's something about that connects all of us, and not only just human beings either. I think animals, trees, maybe even inanimate objects also encompass that greater sense of being, right? I do
Hmm.
believe that. Like that connects literally everything. The one essence of the universe, the one vibration that all vibrations resonate in. Like that's God in a way. I think that's the unchanging part of our being that one can come to find, that we always were, always are, and always will be. That is, I guess, our duty. There's no duty, there's nothing we have to do. I know that. But in a way, no other way to say it, that's our duty to come to find that and resonate on that. And then
Mm.
getting back to it, once you can find that kind of greater sense of consciousness, you become an instrument to that. Something
Mm.
happens, something goes on where you just like you form almost like a relationship with it, even though there is no separation. We are literally just an embodiment of that. In a way, from an outside point of view, one can see that there is a relationship with that. Like if anyone were to observe my actions in this body, or you would see that we are serving something that we find like a greater force that is more than just the body and the bodily thoughts and the bodily sensations. That
Hmm.
I see is getting to the epitome of being a human being, a fulfilled human being, being able to tap into that, tap into that source energy, I guess you could call it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even remember what we were talking about. We were talking. Oh, what is the unchanging self? Right. That is the
Mm.
unchanging self I see, and in that, right, it's just like love. It's just like some kind
Yeah.
of loving presence. That thing, that source, that energy, whatever that thing is, it's not even a thing. It's not even separate from you. But if one could describe that energy, that connection, it's just like loving energy. It's something that loves you and you love it back. I mean, I guess I can call it God. I'll say the G word. It's God, and this God loves you, and and the more you love God, the more God loves you, and you form this beautiful relationship as this humanly vessel, this puny humanly vessel here, serving that force, and serving the force not only of the greater consciousness, but everything that pervades it in this phenomena of life. All human beings, like I said, all human beings, animals, inanimate objects, maybe even the aliens. You're serving all of it, and
Mhm.
that's it, man. Hope that wasn't too grandiose in what I was saying. Hope somebody understood that. Did you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And actually, what you're saying is it's really, yeah, for me, what awakening is about, moving
Mm-hmm.
closer to that feeling of love. And as cheesy as it sounds, it is all just love, isn't it?
It
At the
is.
end of the day, it really is. And I feel like I'm embodying more of that. The more that I progress along this path, the more I feel like I'm embodying this, and just on a daily basis. And my awakening personally has been kind of sprinkled with these deepenings, if you will, like um, these glimpses of even more kind of even a
Hmm.
deeper
Yeah.
connectedness, a deeper feeling. Have you had that along the way where,
Yeah.
it might not last, it might not last very long, but suddenly you feel this profound connection with everything. Yeah, you feel deeply that sense of love,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not something you can really describe with words, actually, so I won't even bother. But yeah,
But
that
here
it's
we
kind
are.
of sprinkled along the way. Yeah, we're trying our best.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's the thing, is the journey
Mm.
never ends. There
Mm.
is no end to this journey, this relationship. Like once you establish this relationship within yourself, within this greater force, that's just the beginning. And then, yeah, like you
Hmm.
said, what I've come to find, I mean, I'm relatively young too. What I've come to find is it only gets it not crazier. I don't know how else to explain it. It only gets, yeah, deeper. The relationship only gets deeper and more magical, more majestic,
Mm.
maybe one could say, with this force. And yeah, the synchronicities keep happening, and the magic keeps happening, and it's just yeah. I think we already explained this before. It makes life just makes life awesome in a way. You know, it just makes life
It
really
does.
um yeah, magical. I don't know how else to explain it. It definitely makes life magical.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really does. It does when you feel this this force guiding you. And yeah, I think a lot of the times people can get quite bogged down in the healing when it comes to awakening, and obviously the healing is a very important part. Releasing this old energy that's just no, it's not coming with us anymore. It's not coming into this new awareness that we're stepping into because it's just not a vibrational match anymore. So,
Yeah.
yeah, healing, like yeah, healing is a big part of it, but also not getting completely lost in all of that.
Yeah,
Realizing
you
that we
can't.
have also yeah, like we're this is what's happened to us is nothing short of miraculous, and it is exciting, and the more that we focus on the magic, the more we see the magic. That's the thing. I always feel
Mhm.
that, you know, if when now that I have eyes to see the synchronicity has just
Yep.
like is tenfold, because
Seriously.
it's almost as if someone knows that I'm watching, someone knows that I can see how I'm being communicated with. So it's just giving me more and more.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's great. It's one of the my favorite parts of awakening as well. Obviously, the liberation is incredible to be able to move through my human experiences with more mastery and flow and peace more than anything. But yeah, there's the cherry on top, which is this mystical mysticism within it.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting because we're talking about liberation, which means, you know, if we think about the meaning of the word liberation or freedom, it pretty much means you can do whatever you want to do, right? You have the ability, which we do. We have free will, I believe. You can if you think of it, you can do it, right? That's kind of the essence of it, putting it very simply, to liberate oneself from any kind of confines that you build up or the world builds up, right? That's liberation in a nutshell. But then we're also talking about, well, there's this sense of like surrendering to a greater force. So that doesn't, there's a sort of like incongruency there, one may come to think, but it's actually like how I describe it or see it. It's like you have liberation, you have the freedom to surrender to the process, right? It's
Mm.
weird because you get this awakening to that we truly do have free will. You can do whatever you want here. You make all of your own decisions. You truly reap what you sow. But in that is an inclination to, personally speaking, is an inclination to surrender to this greater force that seemed to have bestowed you with some kind of grace of liberation, right? So it seems
Mm-hmm.
like counterintuitive. It's like, why would I want to give up my freedom that I just realized I had?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have the answer for that. I really don't have the answer for that, but it seems like there's no other way, right? It seems like I
Mm-hmm.
have to surrender to this greater force. Like I gotta like pay homage to whatever this thing is. Realize that I'm not the star of the show, you know, like the universe doesn't revolve around me. So with this liberation and sense of freedom, is this like is this is this inevitable servitude. It's a peculiar thing. With like I said, I'm still young. I'm still trying to figure it out. But it's not like complete liberation, is what I'm trying to say. It's not complete freedom,
Mm.
but that's good. Right? Like I feel like that is like that's how it's not supposed to be complete freedom. Like human beings aren't supposed to be. I mean, I know there is no supposed to be and not supposed to be, but I guess in there's a certain order to this life one can come to find, and a human being in the order is not completely um free, I guess. It's not the right way to say it. I
Mm.
know there's probably more eloquent ways to say it, but a human being isn't completely like, we're not God. We're an aspect of God, but we're not
Mm.
fully godlike beings where we can do whatever we want, and we're not supposed to be able to do what we want. It's peculiar, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Oh, definitely. Yeah. I've had this argument with myself a few times when it comes to free will. There is a paradox. There's paradoxes everywhere, actually, along
Yeah,
in this world. But the more you delve into things, and I guess that's maybe related to non-duality in a way. Like,
yeah,
I do believe that all truths are but half truths. And yes, we have free will, but we are also very much yeah, you could say that we're astrology in and of itself. Astrology puts us in these boxes. Maybe karma as well. Maybe we are fulfilling something that happened in the past. This cause and then the effect.
yeah.
And yeah, when you tap into something, you tap into something that is guiding you, and you really don't have a choice. Actually, at some points, like the intuition is so loud, you
Yeah.
actually even get forced into it if you don't listen to it.
Hmm.
I find, but I guess the way I see it is that is a lot of that is my higher self or my inner guidance, the part of me that exists in higher dimensions. I'm only seeing it from my human perspective, but there's a part of me that's guiding me that sees it from a whole other perspective.
Hmm.
So but yeah, this matter of free will, but the conclusion I've come to is that at every single fork in the road, I can make a decision and I can follow these synchronicities as they unravel. But yeah, I found a lot of peace in just concluding that all truths are but half truths, and that
Yeah.
we have free will, but we also don't in a way.
Hmm. Yeah. It's like you
Yeah.
you have your intuition and you have the choice to not listen to your intuition as well. But I think you
Mm.
probably know through trial and error that if you don't listen to your intuition, it's only going to create more suffering in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
No,
think
yeah,
that's kind of the
totally.
essence of it. Like we always have free will, but you get to a certain point, it's like, well, in order for me to find peace, find a sense of flow in this life, I have to listen to that internal guidance, or it's just going to create more and more suffering. I'm going to keep going on the hamster wheel. And that's essentially, in a way, that's kind of karma. That kind of is karma
Yeah.
in a way. Us being able to listen to that inner guidance is us just aligning ourselves and us reaping our karma in a way, kind of. That's kind of
Mm.
a crude representation of karma, but yeah, that's what it comes down to, man. Surrender.
Yeah, yeah, it
Surrender.
really is. Yeah. And I do feel very passionate about the subject of liberation, to be honest. Like I feel that humanity, we've become so lost in our thoughts. We really have. Um, and through our ability to actually realize that we are not our thoughts, there's a lot of freedom in that. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
surrender that comes through having the through actually being able to stop the mind. There's a being able to actually
Mm.
stop the incessant thought, the incessant train of thought, cultivating this ability to just surrender into absolute nothingness in the mind and just
Yeah.
letting it all go.
Hmm.
That's real surrender, and that's real liberation. I see so many human beings very, very lost in the mind space, and that does cause a lot of the suffering on this planet, I think,
Hmm.
definitely.
Yeah. So, do you see a world where we're all on that wavelength of serving this greater force? Like we kind of let go of the humanly needs, not needs, but humanly wants. We let go of the story of us trying to, the humanly wants, I'll say, I'll keep it at that. Do you see a
Mm,
world where we're all surrendered to this force and, the world will literally transform? If we do that, the world will literally transform. It won't look the same whatsoever. So do you foresee a future where all human beings are on that wavelength? Even if it's like 100, 200, 2,000 years from now, do you think that's like an inevitable destiny of human beings or consciousness altogether?
so I guess the short answer is I don't know. But the long answer would be that yeah, I deep down, I feel that this is why I came here
Mm,
to, and this is why so many of us are here at the moment, is to help with this transition
mm-hmm,
into this new awareness. Um, I, I remember reading, I think it was in Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, he described plants, or sorry, flowers as being enlightened plants, and birds as being enlightened animals, and crystals as being enlightened rocks.
Hmm.
And, I kind of see how throughout the history of time, we've had these beings that have walked the planet that have managed to become enlightened and really wake up to their inherent beauty, and embody their true essence whilst in human form. And I do think that, as Eckhart described it, it was first one little flower that blossomed, and then it was another one and another one through evolution. And so maybe that's what's going to happen with us. Maybe we will, more and more people on the planet are undoubtedly waking up. I travel a lot. I meet a lot of incredible people, a lot of people that have been on this path for many years, people that are just born awake. Humanity is changing. And it does seem that, yeah, I think that just like that first little flower, we will evolve more and more, multiply. There'll be more of us walking the planet that is embodying this state. Whether we will completely all of us be like that, who knows? I've got no idea. But yeah, I do envision a future where we do evolve our consciousness, and this, you can see it happening anywhere. And I actually think that it is a necessity, to be honest with you. At this point, it
Yeah.
it has to happen.
Hmm. I agree. Or else we're
Yeah.
just going to destroy ourselves. And then
Exactly. Yeah. I
we'll
didn't want to
start.
say it, but it's true.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do foresee it happening as well, but that's the thing. Are we going to destroy ourselves first? Does there need to be some kind of catastrophe? I hope not. I really hope not. But then there's one side of me that says there's no other way. We're too far gone. I don't think so. I have hope as well. But then I'm like, is it false hope? Am I just being a little too idealistic? I don't know. I don't know. Like you said, I don't know. I don't know either. But I do believe, going back to that greater sense of consciousness, we are inevitably going to reach that point. It may not be in this current incarnation of the human species, but somewhere down the line in life, just life, to get the consciousness will, I believe, will reach that point. I think it is an inevitability for us to be at that point, be linked up to God, I guess you could say. I do believe that. I don't know why. There's something in me that says that it is. It's bound to happen. It has to. There's no other way. Because once you can tap into this sense of living your life, you probably come to find that there's no other way to live. You can't just go back into the matrix, right? You're always gonna know it's the matrix. So I think the cat's out of the bag at this point from for us, and humanity is gonna realize that there's no other way as well. I think I think a lot of people are actually realizing that right now. Like you said, it's definitely happening. But slowly and slowly, I think humanity is going to figure out that there's no other way to live. And if not, then we'll destroy ourselves. But all is well. I think there will always be life. I think there's always going to be some kind of life, even if it just comes down to like 20 people, just hypothetically, even if it just came down to 20 people on Earth. That, I still identify with that. There's something in me that says like that's still life. I believe in the human spirit. I believe that there's always going to be like a sense of consciousness, a sense of liveness. Even if it's not me, even if it's not you, there's always going to be like that, like the survival of just life. And it might not even be humans. Maybe like life will evolve out of like some other smaller creature like humans did. But there will always be like something. It might not even be on Earth. It might even be on another planet. Who knows? I don't know. I'm going a little off here. But what I'm trying to say is that like I do believe in the just the sanctity of life in general, and I do believe that life goes on no matter what. So if one can identify with that in their life and identify with that greater sense of consciousness that may or may not go into other planets, who knows, or into other creatures. I do believe it does. I don't think locality or like or what the phenomena appears as. I don't think it matters. That like that sense of I amness, the sense of life. If one can find that, that we kind of touched upon. One, if one can find that in their life right now, then it doesn't matter what happens, if there is a catastrophe or not. It doesn't matter if the world ends per se, because you can always find that you live on in a way, not you in your body, but you as in that sense of like we talked about, that here and nowness. The here and now is always the here and now, whether or not there's a comet that comes down, if there's no humans left, there's always that here and now. And that, I think, is the important part to realize. I believe, I'm not trying to preach to anybody, but I think it's important for me to realize that and come back to that, the remembrance of like life is a lot more than just this. It's just, just your humanly vessel. Life is far greater than we could ever imagine. And with that is a sense of invulnerability in a way. It's a sense of I guess immortality in a way. It's like this cosmic immortality that you can come to find, right? It's quite beautiful because who doesn't want to transcend death, right? So transcending death in a way is almost like switching up the viewpoint of what you think you are. What you think you're just this suffering humanly vessel on this planet of darkness, but really what we all really are at a deeper sense, and it's not even that deep, it's actually pretty apparent once you can tap in, is something that it's invincible, it's immortal, it's indivisible. Like there's no separation between what we are and what we're not. I don't even know if that made sense, to be honest, but what I'm trying to
No,
say.
definitely know what you
Okay.
mean.
Yeah, what we are is greater than anything that could be afflicted to us, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So no matter what, I believe life goes on. Just not the phenomena of life, but there's always some kind of sense of just surviving. And in that survival, I do believe we'll reach a point, a coming back into our innate nature with the divine. And that's all I got to
Hmm.
say.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're energy. That's what we are at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Energy cannot be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And um and yeah, we can glide through this human experience. We can experience the beautiful emotions. Well, all emotions are beautiful. We can experience the positive and the negative emotions. We can have all types of experiences here. But at the end of the day, we are energy, and how much really matters, of this. It's like it all matters, but it also doesn't a lot.
That's
And
the paradox. That's
there's a
another
lot of,
paradox. Mm-hmm.
yes, another one. Yeah, like it really like there's a lot of liberation for me in realizing that my little problem right now, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter because I'm energy and I'm invincible, and and even deeper than that, I'm actually an ocean of energy.
Yeah.
I'm just
All of
right
us.
now I'm identifying with the drop in the ocean, but
Mm-hmm.
really, yeah.
We're always the ocean. Yeah. We're always the ocean. The ocean is so vast. It's actually incomprehensible. But that's truly what we are, is the ocean, which is energy. It's like there is infinite amount of vibrations within this one vibration. There's an infinite amount of waves within this one ocean. There's a lot of different metaphors I guess one could, try to describe it, but that is really what we are or aren't. Words don't do it justice because it just automatically creates duality. It automatically creates that subject and object, like what I am. Like that doesn't even do it justice. I am, even just saying I am nothing, that creates a subject and object. So, we can't talk about it, but here we are talking about it. But truly, yeah, our essence is further, not further, but it's greater and less than what we think we are.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how
Yeah,
else to put it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just paradoxes everywhere along the way. I swear, the more I look into this,
Yeah. Yeah, the
it's
path is
like
about
whatever way
embracing
you
the
want to look at.
paradox.
Mm,
Yeah.
hmm. Yeah, and whatever way you want to look at it, I always say all truths are but half truths.
Mm-hmm.
Really, we've got our truth of awareness at any given moment in time, but also Yeah. What even is truth, really?
What is
Maybe
truth?
there's never one truth. Maybe there's lots of truths. So, yeah.
Truth is that there is no truth.
Ooh,
Maybe.
yeah.
I
Love
don't
that.
know.
Really great.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know what else to say, to be honest. Well,
uh,
yeah. I mean, hey, I think we could probably wrap this up. I appreciate you coming on here, sharing your time, wisdom, presence with me. Um, this was felt like we went through like some kind of wormhole, came out the other side. Um, yeah. Do you have any last words for the podcast? Anything you want to get off your chest? Anything you want to say?
um, maybe if there's anyone that is suffering, um, realize that it's a lot of it is it's not the event itself, it's what your mind is saying about the event.
Mm,
So the if you really want to liberate yourself, you want to liberate yourself from the mind, and that comes through really working with the mind. And yeah, just and meditating, like you said earlier, meditation is such a huge aspect of this. We can't get out of meditation when it comes to spiritual awakening, because that's what really moves us deeper to a more what moves us closer to who we actually are. So yeah, work with the mind. I think it's so important.
mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Amen to that.
that's about it. Thank you.
Work with the mind. Just think about the
Mm.
way you phrased it. Work with it, not against it.
Hmm.
And that's how I think
Yeah.
we can, find a little bit of peace, a little bit of, um, how do I describe it? Just a different way to view the suffering, a different way to view the suffering of this humanly vessel, the dukkha, as one may call it. Um, but yeah,
So true.
appreciate your time, effort, wisdom, presence.
Mm.
I'll put everything down in the description for people to check out. But yeah, thanks again. I wish you all the best. Peace out.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.